What's up, friends, fellow card collectors? Card Obvious here. Back out here in the workshop on a Monday with another off the cuff. So, today I'm going to talk about a couple things at least. First thing I'm going to talk about is Copa, or if you want to sound like a Dick Tracy gangsta, Coppa. Um, but yeah, the COPPA, um, the Child Privacy and Protection Act, that Yahoo, or not Yahoo, but YouTube slash Google is now trying to comply with because they didn't comply with for the years that it's already been in action. Um, and how do I view it? I really don't view it either way. I mean, I'm just gonna keep making videos and doing it. However, I mean, I'm not even monetized, so it's not like I'm making any money off anybody. Um, I'm not collecting anybody's information, so I don't really see how that involves anything. And I know they threw out a big number, $40,000. You know, you get sued if your video doesn't comply or whatever. And I just see it as a way of this whole new YouTube policy of having to mark as for kids or against kids, which is gray, like gray area in itself. I mean, what's for kids and what's for not kids? I mean, I do baseball card videos, I do football card videos. Those could be considered for kids, but I would say 95% of my audience is adults, old farts like me. Um, so I mean, like, where's the gray area? There's too much gray area in there. What's for kid and what's not for kid? I mean, I guess if you really wanted to, you could go through and mark your channel as mature content only. So you'd have to click, that you're 18 or older or whatever. I mean, I believe the policy was that YouTube wouldn't let anybody under the age of 13 sign up, so therefore their definition of kid couldn't even hold an account on YouTube. Um, but I guess it wasn't enough. YouTube was still found in not compliance and had to pay all this money. Uh, but yeah, I'm not really doing much. I'm not marketing my channel as being for kids because that's not who I target, and I'm being totally honest with that. Um, if the government wants to come after me for all the money I made on YouTube, well, they can get a big fat zero because I haven't monetized anything on YouTube. I haven't even reached that mark yet. So yeah, at this point right now, I think it's just a wait and see game. There's been a lot of overreaction to it. I think people threatening to cancel their channels and all that, and I can understand the worry about it for folks that have YouTube as their main source of income, and that that's scary when you know a regulation or a company you work for or whatever has to adjust and could cause you to lose the majority of your income. I mean, that's scary for people. I mean, you can imagine in any job if you know say if you worked at a restaurant, you cooked hamburgers, and that was your career, and you loved it, you enjoyed it, and that's what you loved doing. You loved being a cook and cooking hamburgers, and then all of a sudden the government says, "Look, you can't feed beef to people." A lot of people would freak out, and there'd be a lot of reaction and overreaction to something like that. So that's the way I see it. Right now, I'm just not doing much. I didn't mark my channel as for kids because they're gonna cut off comments to those. I guess starting in January. They won't be listed in suggested videos and all that. And I mean, when your goal on YouTube is to grow a community, especially the card community and all that, when you don't get suggested videos, if nobody's videos are getting suggested because their channel is marked as for kids, you're never gonna discover any new YouTubers. I think it just puts a damper on creativity and trying to bring in creators and all that. But I'm not too worried about it. I'm just gonna keep pressing on, keep making videos. I can only control what I do. I can't control what anybody else does. So I'm just giving my 2 cents on it. It really doesn't mean much. There's a plethora of videos out there talking about this. There's a plethora of videos out there that get more into the legalese of the act. Um, and the YouTube rules on it. So definitely, you could just search out YouTube and you can find a ton of information on it. And please don't use me as your source of information on this because I'm pretty much going by hearsay and what I'm going to be doing. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Kappa. Um, so the next thing is I'm going to talk about the production or overproduction or production runs on modern era baseball sets, right? So everybody knows about the junk wax era. At least most of us do that are back in the hobby now. People that still have cards, you know, stashed in the attics at their mom's house or whatever, or in a storage unit somewhere. Um, that haven't paid attention to anything to do with the hobby in 30 years, 20 years, whatever. Everybody has that. People that, especially people that are my age, have that awakening when you happen to look up your card values and it's like, there's, there's nothing there. They were worth more back then when we were kids than they are now. Um, and that all had to do with the overproduction of that era's cards. I consider the overproduction era starting in 1986 and going through about 95. I think the baseball strike of 95 really kind of put a damper on the industry, the hobby as a whole. I don't think there, that's when the hobby really started its decline. Was probably around 95, was probably around that baseball strike. And then I think in the 2000s, the card companies really saw, oh, we made a mistake back then. Because I think that during the 2000s, the production numbers were still high, even compared to what they are today. Um, I think the production numbers were really high in the early to like around 2008, 2009 ish. I think production runs are still pretty high. Not as high as they were in the early 90s, but I think they were still pretty high. And they kind of like, I think, the production runs like came up and they peaked probably around 92, 93, where you were getting crazy amounts of cards being printed. And then as demand went down after, I would say 93, demand probably started going down because that was when most people in my generation were entering high school age and were focusing on things other than baseball cards. So that demand really went down. So my generation was part of the bubble of baseball cards. Like at the peak, all kids, I wouldn't say all kids, but the majority of kids my age were collecting some kind of sports card. Um, and then it fell down from there. So, and like, it's funny because that coincided with the release of Magic the Gathering, which brought up the trading card game as far as like collectible cards for gaming as opposed to collectible cards of sports stars. But that's a totally different tangent that I could get lost on. But I'm not even talking about my original point here. I'm just rambling. Um, the production numbers of modern era cards. So if any of you are aware, Striker Breaks is a channel on YouTube, and he does these breakdowns where he does the math on card ratios and all that. Like saying if a 101 appears one in every 15,000 packs or 20,000 packs, how many packs do you need minimum to have all those 101s? Because you're probably not going to find a 101 in one pack. One pack's probably not going to have two 101s in it. Um, so, you can just do the math and figure out how many packs you need to have all those 101s in a set, and then figure out, what's the total production run. And, he did Topps Chrome and or Topps Chrome update. He did a video on, and then the really good videos. So definitely check out Striker Breaks. And it was somewhere around 80. I think he said around 87,000 of each base card is printed, and that's the reason why base cards will never have like value because so many base cards are printed. But I think it's a lot of that is a lot of mental gymnastics in our heads. Not talking about what Striker does. What Striker does is just straight math. He gives you the answer. 87,000 of each Chrome base card for update. Chrome update baseball card, I should say. So when you think about it, that seems like a lot. Of course, it's a lot. I mean, you can't even sell serial number cards that are serial numbered out of 299 for. You could pick those up all day for a buck or two. I mean, depending on the player. Mike Trout at 299, or if you get a rookie out of 299, yeah, it's gonna draw a little bit more value. But I mean, just a regular base card of Freddie Freeman. I didn't say base card, but a parallel of Freddie Freeman numbered to 299 is not going to draw a big value. And that blows my mind because when you put it in perspective of the junk wax era production, if you're getting 87,000, if you're even getting 100,000 or even 200,000 copies of a single base card, that is a drop in the bucket compared to the production that you had in the 90s and the late 80s. I mean, they were printing out millions of sets. Millions of sets. So like it's less than a percent or even less than 5% of some of those runs back in the 90s, or the late 80s, early 90s, back in the junk wax era. So a lot of people are worried about, the overproduction era coming back in. And the way I see it, no, it's not. I mean, these production runs on these sets is a drop in a bucket compared to the production runs in the late 80s and 90s. I don't think people realize how many sets are printed. There are warehouses still full of junk wax. Like, they're printed yesterday. There are just warehouses full of junk wax all over the place. I mean, there is no shortage of 1989 tops to go around. There's no shortage of 1991 tops to go around. 1990 Donruss. Nobody liked that set. It's a terrible set. There's still probably millions of boxes of 90 Donruss out there. And to worry about overproduction in the modern era, I just don't see it. Um, so the mental gymnastics I was talking about is people relate the prices to what it was back then. Back then, the availability of cards wasn't as big as it is now. Now, I'm not talking about there being an LCS on every corner. I'm talking about the connectivity of the internet. Okay? Everybody that collects cards can buy a box online, have it delivered to their house, rip open that box after it gets delivered. Okay, you can overnight it if you want. Anybody in the world can go to, or anybody in the US at least, can go to like David Adams or Blowout Cards or Steel City and order a box, have it overnighted to them in the US, be there the next day, and they get their box, they rip it open, and at that same point, every card in that box can be on eBay for sale worldwide. Um, that interconnectivity really drives the scarcity or lack of scarcity that we had back in the junk wax era. Because back in the junk wax era, there was no guarantee that anybody in your town had enough of a certain card, or you didn't know the right kid that had that Frank Thomas rookie card. You didn't know the right kid that had that Chipper Jones rookie card. So you had to wait until the card show came around. And there was a card show, at least in my town, there was a card show about once a month, if not once every other month. Um, and you had these dealers that would hit all these card shows with all these cards. And, the values of certain cards were wild. I mean, a Frank Thomas rookie was $100 card. Ken Griffey Jr. rookie was $100 card. A lot of the cards were $100 cards. Ken Seiko's, McGuire, those were all $100 card. You could get Frank Thomas rookies all day now for $1, and you can get, 3 or 4 of them for $1 a lot of times. Mainly because we had no clue back then how many tops and upper deck and Fleer and Score were printing, and it was millions. Millions. Um, so in regards to current production and overproduction area, I wouldn't worry about that too much. I just will it upset the balance between demand and supply? That's something that the card companies just gonna have to keep in mind. I mean, it's the card companies are in the business of selling boxes of baseball cards, boxes and packs. That's what their jobs are. The secondary market isn't really their concern. It truly isn't. If you're a card manufacturer, uh, secondary market means not much to you. mainly because you're focused on the primary market, which is people that buy boxes of cards. Um, so when demand goes up, I mean, it's basic business sense. You know, if you sell a product and demand for your product skyrockets, you have to meet that demand with more supply. So you need to supply more product to follow that demand. If you don't supply the product, prices on the primary market are going to skyrocket. And what that means is if Topps, we'll just use Topps for example, if Topps doesn't keep up with the demand for their baseball cards, if people are going to Target and Walmart and clearing out retail boxes, or if people are ordering online and they're just buying case after case after case of a product, it's a smart business decision on them to keep making that product. I mean, to keep selling the product. That's profit for them. They have to sell so many cases of a product to break even, and then everything past that's pure profit. Why would you stop that? That's not a great business sense. Now, for collectors, we don't want to see that because we're like, we want our cards to hold their value, right? And the mental gymnastics we have is from those vintage cards of the 60s and 70s where the scarcity is there, you know. There's only so many of those cards out there, you know. But at the same time, back then the collecting thing wasn't this hobby that was really well practiced, you know. A lot of people didn't take care of their cards back then. They were for kids. They were considered toys. They got tore up like toys. Um, and there's the scarcity, but now, you know, people want that scarcity but still want the modern product, and that's where you're playing a fine balancing act, you know. What does Topps do? Does Topps keep printing product to keep up with that demand that's constantly rising and make good profits by printing more product? Or do they plateau at some point and say, look, this is all limited edition stuff, you know. We're only making 5,000 cases of this product and that's it. So at that point, then you're reaching another tough point for our collectors where they stop making the product and the only way to get it's on the secondary market, eBay, what have you, and you're going to pay premium prices for it because there's not a lot of product out there for it, you know, because it's not keeping up with demand. So while demand is high and supply is low, price is high. That's just the way it works, and vice versa. You think about the junk wax era. Supply is high, demand is low for those cards. They're not worth nothing. You know, they're not worth the cardboard they're printed on. So, yeah, I talked a long time about. Yeah, I got a lot of thoughts about the overproduction era because I mean that was my era. That was our era. You know, for people that are my age, that was our era. That was, you know, that's where our nostalgia comes from. And you know, it hurts to think about like all those cards that, you know, we had and we cherished, and we were like, yeah, you know, one day it's gonna make us rich, you know, and you know, by the time King Griffey Jr. is in the Hall of Fame, all his cards are gonna be worth $1 million a piece. I'm still here in my workshop. Tell the truth on that, and I still never pulled a King Griffey Jr. rookie card. So, but yeah, I'm gonna quit rambling on there, and I'm gonna shoot it back over to the desk so y'all can see a mail day I got from Big Harv. So, you know, with the magic of video editing, you will be at my desk in 3, 2, 1. Okay, we are back here at the desk, and we got a package from Big Harv. I have no clue what this is because Big Harv sent this out of the blue, so we'll break this open and see what's in here. First, let's add to the giveaway stash. Got some cards from that Fairfield I opened, which was a really good Fairfield. Had a couple Topps Gold cards. I think Fairfield's kind of stepping up their game a bit. This one had a packaging date of the summer, so these were nicer boxes than what I've seen from the packaging date in January. So I think Fairfield kind of got some new stuff to throw in their boxes and some pretty cool stuff. I really like that Hideo Nomo card. It's pretty cool. But that's going in the giveaway stash. So the month is almost over. Can you believe it is almost the end of the year? That's right, folks. We're about to enter a new decade. Man, time flies when you're an old fart, huh? But yeah, there's still time to get in on the giveaway stash. All you gotta do is get your comments in on my November videos. Remember, that only affects the uploads, not the live streams. So let's go ahead and break into this and see what we get. Once again, this is from Big Harv. And I'll have a link to Big Harv's channel in the description below. Definitely check out his channel if you get a chance. So, ooh, looks like a pack of cards. Sweet. Mr. Mark Clayton there, part of the Marx Brothers. Of course, Big Harv is a fellow Dolphins fan like myself. So always good to get some Dolphins cards. Let's get the focus right. And Mark Clayton. Here's a Sammy Smith. Sammy Smith was a really good running back, but he had trouble holding on to the ball, especially near the goal line. I think it was his last year as a Dolphin. I think he fumbled like 2 or 3 times on the goal line and was like lost fumbles, and it cost the Dolphins like 2 or 3 games. It was pretty wild. We got a Jim Jensen. Jim Jensen was a do-it-all player. He would play any position needed. Notice it says wide receiver, running back. He's also on special teams. He'd be on special teams. He'd be the up back for fake punts. Played tight end, fullback, all sorts of positions. Pretty wild. Guy was a true Swiss Army knife. We got Jeff Cross, great defensive end. Here's Tony Nathan. Tony Nathan was a wide receiver, running back. Yeah, running back, excuse me. Here's another Jim Jensen carrying the ball here. Louis Oliver. Don't think he holds the record anymore, but once held the record for longest interception return for a touchdown. Yep, 103 yards. There's the man right there, Don Shula. Don Shula, winningest coach in NFL history. Of course, Bill Belichick is approaching that very, very quickly. I think he still needs 4 or 5 more years of 10 wins, so we shall see. It depends on how long. It's stuck in my thumb there. You got J.B. Brown. Don't remember J.B. Brown. Ooh, Art Monk. Wide receiver for the Redskins. Hall of Famer. Very sweet. We got Roy Foster. Roy Foster was a offensive lineman. Here's the other half of the Marx Brothers. Mark Duper. You don't ever see those helmets anymore. Oh, man. That's back when football was football. Here's a David Woodley. David Woodley, famous for losing his job to Mr. Dan the Man Marino, as you can see here in 1982. And of course, wouldn't get much further than that because Dan Marino showed up. Here's another Louis Oliver. Looks like he's making a tackle on a Charger back there. John Offerdahl. John Offerdahl played linebacker for quite a while. Here's another Louis Oliver. Andre Brown. I don't remember Andre Brown as a wide receiver. Let's see. Went to Miami, so University of Miami product. It's pretty cool. And played for the Dolphins. There's another David Woodley. The Jeff Dallenbach. Ed Newman. Ed Newman, pretty cool card here. 83 tops. Ed Newman. Don McNeil. Bob Baumhauer, nose tackle, made the Pro Bowl. Here's a Brian Cox. Brian Cox was a lightning bolt back there. Very, very good linebacker, but just, man, get in trouble. You know, played a little dirty on the field. It's Keith Jackson, tight end. Very nice. Yes, Mr. Pete Stoyanovich. Great kicker. Great kicker. Many of you may remember the Leon Lett incident during the Thanksgiving game, and since Thanksgiving's coming up, I'm sure you'll probably see it again, on which Leon Lett went and touched the ball on a field goal that was blocked. That was Pete Stoyanovich kicking that field goal. Here's Joe Rose. Joe Rose tight end. Of course, Joe Rose, now a radio host, has the Joe Rose Show in Miami. Joe Rose. Oops. About dropped it. Another Louis Oliver. J.B. Brown. Here's a Mark Higgs. I remember Mark Higgs. Love those old Patriots helmets. Know why? Because they reminded me of a time when the Patriots weren't very good. The Patriots never really had success with these uniforms. They did make the Super Bowl in '85, but I do love these old Patriots uniforms. And finally, another Jim Jensen. Yes, the Swiss Army knife. Jim Jensen. Let's see. His best year looked to be 88, where he had 58 receptions, 652 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So pretty nice. It helps when you have Dan Marino throwing you the ball. So sweet. Thank you, Big Harv,
for the Dolphins cards. I really appreciate that. That is awesome. A lot of these cards I did not have, so I really appreciate that. So, quick reminder to everybody out there, I still have a break I'm trying to fill. I think I got 3 more slots left. If I sell at least one more, then we'll go ahead and do the break probably on Sunday. Sunday at the end of the Thanksgiving weekend. Probably Sunday evening. I'll try to do it before BITG comes on. And yeah, if I sell one more, I'll eat the last 2 spots. It's all good. But yeah, so the pack mixer break's been a couple weeks since we've done one. They're super fun. You get in there, we pick the random packs on the board. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I also got some other stuff on my website for sale, including those Walgreens boxes, those Walgreens Series 2 boxes. They don't sell on there. I'm gonna be forced to throw them up on eBay. I know they'll sell on eBay, no problem. But I got them up on the website as well. So yeah, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. And remember, you can only control 2 things: that's your thoughts and your actions. So stay positive, keep ripping them packs, and I'll catch y'all later. This Card Hobbyist out. Wait, don't leave yet. There's more. Uh, just about an hour after I got finished filming that mail day from Big Harv, the mailman showed up, and I got dun dun dun. That's right, a package from the one and only Arana Boys, Spidey. So I figured instead of doing another mail day video tomorrow, I will add to the smorgasbord of smash ups I got going in this video and go ahead and open up this package from Spidey. I'm super excited to see what's in here. I have an idea what's in here because Spidey mentioned it before, but I'm still excited to actually see. So let's go ahead and break into this. I know this is going to be a long video, and y'all have heard me ramble enough in this video between off the cuff and Big Harv's mail day, but you know what? It's all good. Boom. Wow. Oh, look what I see. Look what I see. Yes, I know there's baseball cards, but I see Swedish fish. Smorgasbord. I love Swedish fish. Thank you, Spidey. This is awesome. Oh man, sweet. I love these things. Um, these will be gone within the next 2 hours. Oh, one of my favorite candies. Swedish fish. I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Spidey. That's awesome. Oh man. He also sent a letter. Let me make sure this is readable on camera. So, okay. It says, "I hope you are doing well. Congrats on your Dolphins win." Hey, that's 2 wins, Spidey. That's 2 wins. Here are the cubes I promised. I hope you enjoy them. I threw in a set of 1991 Upper Deck Final Edition. I know you collect Hall of Fame players, and there is a Jim Thome and Pedro rookie in there. Oh, I appreciate you and what you do. I'm in for the next break. The first one didn't go my way. Laugh out loud. Car Crew, your friend, Scotty Arana, Spidey. Spidey, I'm at a loss for words, man. You didn't have to send me all this. I mean, yeah, seriously, this is awesome, man. I mean, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate this. This is awesome, man. I can't. I'm bumbling on my words here, but this is amazing. Wow, Spidey. Oh boy, I'm not used to getting just just care packages out of the blue from folks. I'm unused to a lot of the kindness that this community shows me, and Spidey, you're right there at the top of the list of showing me support, and I don't know if I could say thank you enough. I mean, this is amazing, and I know some people may think, but it's just they're just Fairfield cubes. They're $5 Fairfield boxes, but I mean, it's not the gift, it's the thought of it. For somebody to send me this is super generous, and with the Upper Deck Final Edition set with a Tomei Pedro rookie, two cards I did not have for in my Hall of Famer horde. This is awesome. So between what you did for me today and Big Harv's mail, um, without really asking for anything else in return, is you know that it's awesome, man. This is what this community could be. Um, I wish I could be more generous with the stuff I have. Um, and it's a model for everybody out there to show their generosity to others. But yeah, yeah, man. Thanks. I really don't know what else to say. um, you know what? I'm gonna open this. I'm gonna open this for you right here and there. I'm gonna open this for you. What did I do with my knife? And speaking of Spidey, this is something else he sent me. This wonderful dragon knife that he had sent in the previous package to me. It's amazing. I want to see what's all in this Upper Deck Final Edition. These will be featured on a future Fairfield Fanatic Friday. I'm totally flabbergasted today. We got a Kansas City Royals card on top here. Love this old school boxing. I just got done talking earlier when I recorded the off the cuff part of this video. So if you made it this far through the off the cuff, through the Big Harv mail day and into this awesome delivery from Scotty Arana, I'm still touched by these. Oh man, God, this is just this bringing back my childhood right here. The Doyers, and we got an METS Mets and an Expos. Oh yes, an Expos Expos sticker. Always nostalgic about the Expos. So here's a checklist of all the players in Final Edition. Man, straight out the box. Straight out the box. Let me get my focus right here. I got Bobby Bow, the Hawk. Man, some of these cards I just do not have. I do have a few. I think I have this Tony Gwynn. Ivan Calderon. Man, these things are crisp. There's BITG would say clean. There's Ozzie Smith. And who's that behind him? Benito Santiago. There's a Chris Sabo. Or as Crosby would say, the goon with goggles. Sandberg, Hall of Famer. Will Clark, fan favorite, not a Hall of Famer though. Man, these cards are crisp. There he is. Benito Santiago. Tommy Glavine. This is a card I believe I have already. Man, this is awesome. Danny Tartable. Dave Henderson. Where's the ball? I can't see the ball. There he is, the kid. King Griffey Jr. It's awesome. I love these. Ricky Henderson. I did not have this card. I do have this Cal card. Wade Boggs. Here's another Hall of Famer I didn't have. Man, this thing is just loaded. Roberto Alomar, Hall of Famer, with Mr. I Get Paid Every Year, Bobby Bow. Cecil Fielder. Sandy Alomar Jr. Another Hall of Famer, Jack Morris. Ryan Sandberg and King Griffey Jr. That's a card I didn't have. Brooke Jacoby, don't remember him. Oh, Mark Wohlers, looking young. He looks like what's his name? He looks like the actor that passed away. Bill Paxton. He looks like Chet in this picture from Weird Science. Randy Tomlin. He's a Mark Whitten. Mark Whitten could hit. Dean Palmer. Dean Palmer was a good hitter. Reggie Jefferson. Thought that was Eddie Murray for a second. Gerald Alexander. Vicente Palacios. And we got Tim Burke. Ron Darling. We got Scott Servais. Brett Barbary, I remember that name. Kevin Morton. Anthony Young. Wasn't Anthony Young the one that went on that winless streak for a long time? Was that Anthony Young? Andy Ashby. Andy Ashby was pretty good. Doug Simmons or Simons. Man, these cards they're not stuck, they're not bricked or anything. It's just they're so new and crisp. Tommy Green, Chris Donalds, Bill Kruger, Juan Bell, Otis Nixon. There we go, speedster. Roger McDowell. All of his baseball cards are just wild and crazy for the most part. Keith Mitchell. Keith Mitchell, the brother of Kevin Mitchell. Pudge, Hall of Famer Pudge Rodriguez. Brian Hunter. And Scott Livingstone. All right, next deck. These are awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Glenn Allen Hill. Oil Can Boyd, the Rangers. Dennis Martinez, the Expos, signifying his perfect game. It's a pretty cool little card there. Old man Tom Candiotti, Bob Scanlon, Ed Sprague, Rick Wilkins, Ryan Bowen, Rusty Meacham, Wilson Alvarez, Patrick Lennon, Todd Benzinger, John Candelaria, Thomas Howard, Darren Lewis, Scott Kuba, Mike Remlinger. Mike Remlinger was a reliever for the Braves for a while. Mike Humphreys, Denny Nagel. Denny Nagel also pitched for the Braves later on. Scott Kamenicki, Frankie Benavides, Steve Howe. We had Chito Martinez, Chuck McElroy, Candy Maldonado stretching out, Frank Castillo, Derek Bell, Dave Nilsson, Kenny Lofton. Is that considered a rookie? Kenny Lofton rookie? I don't know. I think this guy should be in the Hall of Fame. He was one of the last true speedsters in the game. Chris Haney, Andy Mota, Frankie Rodriguez, minor league diamond skills. Here's a Jeff McNeely, Kerwin Moore, Mark Newfield. There he is, the thumb, Jim Tomei. Man, he looks thin in that picture. Dude was a beast. Jim Tomei. Robert Einhorn, Gerald Williams, Eddie Zosky. Remember when Gerald Williams charged the mound against Pedro? It's one of those memorable fights. Eddie Zosky, Arthur Rhodes. Ah, yes, Todd Van Poppel. His cards were worth a bit back in the day, but never really amounted to anything in the league. Reggie Sanders was a good player. Rondale White was a good player as well. Tom Goodwin, he played in the majors. There's Ryan Klesko, young Ryan Klesko, looking all California there. Dimitri Young, rest in peace, Dimitri Young. Big name in the hobby. If you've never seen Dimitri Young's graded card collection, look it up. It's pretty amazing. Dan Wilson, Scott Bryant, Royce Clayton, Lance Dixon. There he is, Pedro. Pedro with the almost Jerry curl going on here. Hall of Fame Ricky. And here's Ryan Klesko and Reggie Sanders together. It's pretty cool. I've never seen this card before. That's awesome. Not Hall of Famers, but two really good players. Reggie Sanders, his career didn't really pan out the way a lot of people thought it was going to be. Um, but yeah, I mean, you could say the same thing about Ryan Klesko. Ryan Klesko had a solid career, just like Reggie Sanders had a solid career. But Ryan Klesko, like, a lot of people were calling him like the best power prospect since McGuire when he was coming up. I mean, he was absolutely crushing the ball in the minors. So um, didn't quite translate into the majors. He did hit quite a few home runs, but he didn't put up McGuire type numbers, I should say. But man, that was awesome. Uh, I will let you all go. I know you've suffered enough, but if you stuck around for the majority of this video, I want to thank you very much. Big Harv, thank you very much. Shout out to Striker Breaks, who I talk about in the off the cuff portion of this video, which should be the first part of the video you saw. And definitely a shout out to Scotty Arana. I'm still just amazed at what you sent me. This is wow. I don't even know what else to say. So, but but yeah, I mean, I want to let y'all go before I'm truly at a loss of words. This is a card, obvious. I already gave my shout out a little bit earlier before I did Scotty's package, so I'm just gonna let y'all off the hook right now. It's card obvious. I'll see y'all later.